Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, wherever you may be joining from. We will just give people a few minutes to log in. We've got quite a few people registered for today's webinar before we'll kick off, so we'll give it a minute or two. In the meantime, I hope everyone had a wonderful, relaxing Christmas, New Year break and are all back and ready after Australia Day to kick off 2023 in a dynamic way. We're about to go onto a major reform agenda, as we've been hearing. Numbers are ticking up. Just give people another 30 seconds or so, then we'll kick off. Okay. So again, welcome everybody. My name is George Margellis. I am the independent chair of the Aged Care Industry Information Technology Council. And I will be the facilitator today for this webinar looking at the capability, technology and innovation in aged care. I welcome you all to this Aged Care Industry Information Technology Council research webinar. From this point forward, I'll refer to our organisation as the Council because, as you've noticed, it is quite a mouthful. So today we're looking at capability, technology and innovation in aged care, which I think is a very pertinent topic for us all. And this is part of our monthly research webinars, which we've been hosting now for the last 6 or so months, and look forward to hosting more in the new year, keeping in mind that research is key to us implementing innovations that actually make a difference. Before we go on, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners and the custodianships of the lands on which we meet. We pay our respects to their ancestors and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to country. We recognise their valuable contributions to Australian and global society. Just a little bit of housekeeping. At this stage, all your microphones have been muted, so that we don't have any background noise during the presentation. If you have any questions during the event, please post them using the Q&A button or panel at the bottom of your screen. At the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see a little Q&A button. If you click on that, then you can enter any questions you may have specifically to the presenters or broader to the host as well. You can use that. And we'll answer those questions either via the Q&A panel if they need to be answered directly, or at the end of the session in a live Q&A session. The session is being recorded and will be made available in the next few days. So if you have any objections to your name being disclosed, please let us know. And if you have any technical issues during the webinar, please use the Q&A panel again to discuss these with the team, and they'll work in the background to solve those problems for you. So today, our research webinar was presented by the Aged Care Research and Industry Innovation Australia, which is a new organisation recently formed in response to a tender request by the federal government and as a direct recommendation from the Royal Commission. Today we have two speakers. We have Dr. Rebecca Bilton, a Senior Research Fellow from Flinders University, and Lynda McArdle, the Program Manager for the Aged Care Partnering Program. We will post their bios in the chat for further details, and also we'll share their contact details going forward. Their presentation today will outline the activities and resources of ARIIA, the Aged Care Research and Industry Innovation Australia. So we're going to have to learn that acronym as we go forward. So it's a very important one for us going forward. I support this process and highlight some of the technology-based projects that have been funded by ARIIA and are currently underway. I would like now to ask Rebecca and Lynda to share their presentation and hand the screen over to them.
Thanks so much, George. I'll just share my screen. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending today. I'm Lynda. I'm the Program Manager of the Aged Care Partnering Program, and we would also like to acknowledgement of country. So I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land from which I'm speaking today, which is the Kaurna people, and the Gadigal of the Eora Nation people, which is where Beck is in Sydney today, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. So you can see on the screen here, we have Dr. Rebecca Bilton and myself. We've already been introduced, so we'll skip to the more interesting part. So we have ARIIA. ARIIA was established in as a recommendation from the Matter of Care report and also from the Royal Commission into Aged Care. And our role is to increase capability of the aged care workforce to allow them to respond to the current challenges and meet the needs of the sector when there's a lot of change, funding, regulations, customer expectations. So there's a lot of things to deal with in the sector. And we do this through supporting the sector to undertake growth and translation of research into evidence-based practice. So there's a couple of ways which we do that. The team is the start of that. So over the past year, we've recruited around 30 employees and developed a website and resources for the sector. And our mission is to support the 4 aspects you can see here on the screen. So quality services and care for older Australians, a capable and supported workforce, and efficiency in delivering aged care services, as well as growth in businesses. These are the different ways that we do that. So we do have grant funding. We have the Aged Care Partnering Program, which is me, the Innovator Training Program and Innovator Network, which is Rebecca. And we also have the Knowledge and Implementation Hub, which is a key pillar of our work. So the Knowledge and Implementation Hub is underpinning all of our programs, and it's hosted on the ARIIA website and led by Professor Jennifer Tiemann. So it provides a wealth of aged care knowledge, and it supports our innovators that are going through our training programs as they work through their project. But it's also accessible for the whole workforce and the general public, so older people themselves and people that may be caring for them. It holds information that's been translated from academic and grey literature into lay language that's easy to understand, and its purpose is to make research knowledge available to everyone. In ways that can really help people in the sector, both individual level and organisation wide. So all on the ARIIA website, searchable format, and the topics are aligned to our key priority areas. And each topic includes scoping reviews and environmental scans, as well as detailed evidence themes within each topic. So if you go into the dementia care topic, there's a further 34 themes of information, ranging from dementia care mapping and advanced care planning to assistive technologies, to light therapy, reminiscence therapy, and a lot more. Then there's also recommendations for further resources that are beyond ARIIA. So we have been working with expert advisory groups to understand the topics and the sector. And it's also, the priority topics have been informed by the sector. Next up, we have the Innovator Training Program. So this is one of our key programs. It is for aged care workforce, and it's designed to provide aged care workforce with tools and skills to use the knowledge and evidence that's already out there to solve a problem they've identified in their workplace. So it's open to anybody that's part of an aged care workforce and wants to solve a problem or a challenge with the support of their organisation. So we really want the aged care sector to come to us with their problems and challenges and work with them to provide solutions. So the ITP is delivered in a varying formats. So we've got self-directed learning modules, facilitated workshops, and small group discussions that are part of a scheduled Innovator training program that may go for 5 or 10 weeks. The 10-week session at the moment is commencing this week, and the 5-week version is commencing next week. We also offer in-house training programs, so more bespoke models that might be a particular problem an organisation is experiencing and wants to have 10 or 12 of their staff come along and be trained in the Innovator training program to address that specific problem. So when people finish the Innovator training program, they will walk away with a project plan and a pitch to use in their organisation to implement the solution that they've found. And they'll also be able to have that valuable skill of selling their plan and their project to other members of the organisation. And there's also a payment for that. So aged care workforce organisations receive $2,000 per participant for this program to cover backfill. Then we move on to the Aged Care Partnering Program, which is where I'm from. And so we're really working with different project teams to incubate projects, and we're looking for projects that are broad and really scalable to the sector. So often somebody that's been through the Innovator training program may come into the Aged Care Partnering Program if their problem's big enough, and might be applicable to more organisations. And we might work with them to find the appropriate partners. So they might need a research partner, they might need a tech partner, really depends on what their project is. And we also have researchers and product or tech companies that might come to us with a solution or an idea, and we work with them to find the right aged care partner or any other partners they might need for their project, and also host workshops with various subject matter experts that we may bring in to really make sure their project can be as robust as possible. And the aim for most of those at the moment would be to apply for one of the ARIIA grants that I'll speak about in a minute. So we're really partnering, looking at project planning, looking at implementation, looking at the best evidence that's out there, and helping with grant feedback as well to really help those projects along. You can see here the types of connections that we've made so far. So it's all sorts of things. So there's been architects brought in, there's been economists, there's been work health and safety. The projects are so varied, and so the connections that we're making are too, which makes it really interesting. And you'll get to hear about some of those projects shortly. So the grants that we have available, we have 13 million in grant funding to distribute by the end of June this year. Each project can apply for up to 160,000 from ARIIA, and there's a 20% co-contribution from the project team as well. So you'd be looking at a project around, say, 200,000, contributing 40,000. And of course, the project can be worth a lot more than that, but ARIIA would contribute a maximum of 160,000. And as a minimum partnership, an aged care provider and a research organisation is required. So that's where my team steps in with a lot of partnership assistance. And the projects do need to be completed within 1 year of being awarded the funding. So the upcoming grant dates, there is one closing quite soon on the 17th of February, and then round 5 will close on the 28th of April and round 6 on the 24th of June. So if that's something of interest, it's worth starting to think about now. I've also got some less of me talking and more about the interesting projects that we've been funding. So we've got some videos from our organisations explaining their projects to you. Grant round 1, their priority area was dementia, and the lead organisation, Deakin University, partnered with Silver Adventures and Villa Maria Catholic Homes to initiate the project implementation of an innovative virtual reality experience for people living with mild dementia in residential aged care. So I'm going to play you a video from Colin from Silver Adventures, but I also wanted to pass on some wording from Maria, who's the Chief Information Officer at Villa Maria Catholic Homes. She says, Villa Maria has a long and proud history of providing specialist dementia care in a diverse range of care settings, using the Montessori approach to support the needs of people in our care. This approach ensures people can exert their independence by putting their specific needs and interests first. The ARIIA grant will enable Villa Maria, working with our partners Silver Adventures and Deakin University, to explore how virtual reality can be used to enhance the experience and quality of life of people with mild dementia by utilising reminiscence therapy through virtual reality in their residential care setting. The research findings can potentially help to inform future programs and investment leveraging these technologies by Villa Maria and the sector more broadly. And I'll hand you over to Colin.
Hello everyone, my name is Colin Pudsey and I'm the founder of Silver Adventures. Everything that we do is about helping to improve the lives of older adults using virtual reality. We want to help stimulate memories, we want to drive meaningful connections and social engagement, and most of all, we want to bring joy to residents and participants of our solution. You may or may not be aware, but dementia is the second leading cause of death for Australian men, accounting for 1 in every 16 deaths in Australia. For women, it's the leading cause of death in Australia, accounting for 1 in every 8 deaths. We have over 2/3 of aged care residents with some stage of cognitive decline. It's a horrible disease for the individual, and it drastically increased the cost of care for providers too. On top of this, we also have over 1.6 million Australians that are caring for loved ones living with this disease every day. Now, there is positive news because there are proven ways of preventing the onset of dementia, and that's why Silver Adventures exists. We provide a solution that covers 4 of the 7 key ways to prevent the onset of dementia using virtual reality. We are fortunate enough to be working with some amazing care providers across Australia and New Zealand, and that includes Villa Maria Catholic Homes too. We are absolutely thrilled to be awarded this ARIIA grant in the first round of submissions to work more closely with Villa Maria, and also, most importantly, to work with Deakin University. So this grant will allow us to do a project that will measure the outcomes for implementing a VR solution specifically for those living with dementia. We're looking to measure the quality of life outcomes, to evaluate the well-being outcomes, and to capture this information and to be able to share it with the industry so that we can really make a significant positive impact and change and really make a difference to aged care and the residents that we all care for every day. If anyone out there would like to learn more about us and our technology, if you're in aged care, retirement living or hospitals, then by all means, you can go to our website. It's www.silveradventures.com.au, and that's Silver, S-I-L-V-R. We'd love to hear from you, and thanks so much for the time. We're really excited to be going forward with this project. Thanks so much to ARIIA. Thank you.
Thank you to Colin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Colin Pudsey.
Sorry about that. I'll just get to the next slide a different way.
Hello.
So the next one from round 1 that we wanted to share with you today was implementing technology-supported home-based care for older Australians. So the lead organisation for this one was NARI, which is National Ageing Research Institute, with Silverchain as their aged care partner organisation. So Silverchain is one of Australia's significant providers of aged care services and home-based healthcare to older Australians. And NARI is recognised internationally as a centre of excellence in gerontology and geriatrics research. Their ARIIA grant is for the Framework for Enabling Technology-Supported Aged Care at Home, or the FETCH project, which aims to assist home-based care organisations to evaluate individual digital technologies and guide implementation within their individual settings. The framework aims to ensure the successful implementation of integrating digital technologies as valuable tools in new approaches to home-based care, offering enormous benefits to home care providers, including their staff and clients. So since they were awarded the grant in September last year, they've made quite a bit of progress. They've established an advisory group, and that consists of consumer representation as well as Silverchain management. They've established the project governance structure. They've engaged significantly with Silverchain nationwide and reviewing literature. And they've started their dissemination plan and also the recruitment for the project team. So they have put a lot in place, and we look forward to seeing how that project pans out. Next, we wanted to share with you the DOSI project. So I won't tell you about that one. I'll let the lead organisation and the partner organisation talk you through that one.
The DOSI project is about combating social isolation through meaningful video connections. DOSI, Uniting Age Well, and Melbourne University set out to validate if simple technology could reduce feelings of loneliness and social isolation within a population of Uniting Age Well clients living in their own homes. Hi, I'm Nina. At Uniting Age Well, our focus is on supporting older people to experience a sense of well-being, choice, and independence at every age and stage of their lives, to feel valued members of their community, and to have easy access to the services they need to live the life that they want. Uniting Age Well provides the full range of aged care services. We have 20 residential aged care facilities, over 500 independent living units, and provide home care services to more than 10,000 people across Victoria and Tasmania.
Hi, I'm Kristen. My grandma, at 95, lived alone and struggled to use her devices without any help. Our family is spread across the country. Often, her carer's visit was the highlight of her day. I was one of her main carers living in San Francisco, and I tried so many times to connect via video. No matter what app we tried, she was faced with email login hurdles, screens with too many choices, and buttons her unsteady fingers just couldn't control. Once we did get through, but she couldn't repeat the experience on her own. The thing is, technology has left these older adults behind. Even before COVID, 1 in 3 seniors was lonely. Mainstream apps are just not accessible. 90% of personal alarm emergency alerts are from lonely older adults who just want to chat. Carers are spread thin, and next of kin or family are busy. Not all home care clients have close contacts or families to talk to. And older adults feel worried about being a burden on their loved ones. Introducing Dossi, a unique and powerful video calling app that connects families and their aged loved ones in an intuitive, straightforward way. Its simplicity is the superpower. It's easy to install and set up. It syncs to families' calendars, or they can manually select call times for real-time availability. Then it's one tap to connect using large, sensitive touch buttons. We've taken co-design efforts seriously to ensure it's easy to use for challenges associated with dexterity issues, vision, or memory. Families and aged care providers can then monitor connectedness reports over time.
The first phase of the Dossi project kicked off in June 2022. As part of the evaluation, the University of Melbourne undertook pre- and post-interviews focusing on things like technical literacy, loneliness, quality of life, and sleepiness. Early results suggested that simple technology can help older people increase their technical confidence and to use video calling to connect to loved ones.
Meet Grace. Before actually meeting her 3-month-old great-granddaughter, she saw her twice a day through Dossi. She's improved confidence making video calls, but also feels less lonely than ever before.
Meet Fred. He's made almost 300 calls across the pilot period and notes that he's opened up a lot and loves how simple the application is to use.
Meet Claire. Her family are scattered all around the world. She worried about the cost of a landline call and really struggled to keep in touch with family through COVID. She finally feels more connected than ever before, and her daily feelings of loneliness have decreased dramatically. Overall, participants experienced a positive result with respect to the ease of use of Dossi, and from a very low tech literacy standpoint, all participants felt a sense of confidence when using Dossi to call their loved ones. These findings, strengthened by the University of Melbourne's evaluation, supported the extension of the Dossi project into its next phase. And ARIIA is supporting us to validate our newest feature of Community Connect. This will address the fact that as we age, our immediate community becomes smaller and smaller, and we know that on average, older adults are spending up to 11 waking hours alone. Community Connect will be matching volunteers with participants for meaningful connections. Initially, these matches will be based on the availability and will prioritise positive connections over time. We hope to then explore matches based on language and common interests in future phases of the project.
Our project team is dedicated to reducing social isolation and loneliness for older adults. We're also very dedicated to co-design. Our users are providing valuable feedback to ensure that the application is safe, intuitive, and easy to use. And most importantly, that we are building something that actually improves their lives. If you have any questions related to the project, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Kristen on the details listed here. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Great. So round 2, Dossi was from round 2. They've just been announced yesterday. And another project that we have is the top-up study. So addressing the priority areas of dementia, restorative care, reablement and rehabilitation, and urgent and critical need. And I will let Rick from the project team tell you about this project.
Hi. My name's Rick Dawson. I'm a physiotherapist, a PhD candidate at the Institute for Musculoskeletal Health, and the Vice President of the Australian Physiotherapy Association. I'm really excited to be part of the team and receiving the ARIIA grant. Together with our aged care partners, Uniting Agewell and Whitten, this funding will enable us to recruit 240 older people receiving aged care services across Australia. All participants must meet a certain eligibility criteria, and we are excluding those with severe dementia or those who cannot walk. It is a randomised control trial, a level 1 hybrid effectiveness and implementation trial, because we want to know whether telehealth physiotherapy improves mobility, reduces falls and costs to the health system, and improves the quality of life for older people. We want to know how best to support the scale-up of telehealth within aged care. All participants will receive a 6-month intervention, which means 10 physio telehealth sessions, and support from a care worker to ensure safety and access during these sessions. The physiotherapist will encourage 2 hours of exercise per week, and the research team at IMH have developed a home exercise booklet, some exercise videos that we're storing on our website, and access to the Standing Tall app, which is balance and strength from the University of New South Wales. All our exercises are based on the Otago exercise program, which is a progressive tailored balance, strength and mobility program. An essential part of our intervention is weekly support from the care workers to make sure that the participants feel safe to access the technology but we do want to encourage our participants to be as independent as possible. Uniting Agewell committed to a pilot of this intervention in 2022, and they were able to recruit 22 home care participants across northwest Victoria. 2 of their physios and 16 of their home care workers delivered the intervention, and it was a great success in that 86% of the participants completed the program, and there was some big improvements seen in mobility. There was lots of positive feedback, but we're going to explore the customer experience of physiotherapy telehealth in a qualitative analysis later this year. We anticipate finishing recruitment in February 2023, and the intervention will conclude in August 2023. Those who are on a control will receive a 3-month program starting September this year so that everybody gets the program. And once we finish the final data collection and statistical analysis, we plan to run an implementation workshop with both of our partners to understand how we can develop resources to best support the take-up and sustainability of physiotherapy telehealth in aged care. Thank you very much for your time and this opportunity. Hi.
And finally, we have the Bay and Basin Community Resources Organisation that partnered with Exitu, the University of Wollongong and Carers New South Wales, and they address quite a few of our priority areas: dementia, restorative care, reablement and rehabilitation, social isolation, mental health and wellbeing, and urgent and critical need. Just as a bit of an intro to their short video, 1 in 3 older Australians live in regional and remote areas of Australia, and up to 50% of people over the age of 85 are living alone. So this project addresses the unique challenges faced by ageing people living in regional areas in Australia. And the focus is on connecting communities and empowering individuals to help alleviate loneliness, reduce social isolation, and improve mental health and wellbeing by creating opportunities to connect with others and have a sense of belonging. Lifestyle activities will be driven by participant values and interests, encouraging broader eligible community members to connect to aged care services and influence the services that BCR deliver. Community members will start their journey to a more empowered and individualised aged care experience through Exitu, a values-based innovative technology solution that generates individualised care plans. Those care plans form the basis of each person's values-based supports delivered by a frontline workforce trained in values-driven care, supports empowerment and self-efficacy to achieve wellness and reablement. So I'll let the project team explain a little bit more about that project.
The benefits of this regional blueprint created between Exitu and BCR communities, which is now currently recognised and supported by ARIIA, is the opportunity for providers like us who want to further develop their values-driven organisations to review and apply a model that works for regional providers and which includes our lessons learned. It provides positive language and signals that regardless of age, each person has a valuable role to play within their community.
So to date, we've already been able to implement a new online community to support the physical community that exists. And we're seeing the language already start to change around people's perceptions behind older people using technology and getting involved in life and their community in accordance with what they actually value and want to be connected with, which is really exciting. There's a new lifestyle officer working with BCR communities, and they've got new activities being scheduled that people are talking about on the app, and the staff are involved. So we're really seeing this community just start to come to life already, and it's just the beginning.
It's also an opportunity for us to develop ways to really understand the values of the people that we are providing services for, but also to help us to support our workforce by designing better workflows and processes to improve the communication of these values. And when you look at the Ex Situ app and the simple approach that it is to actually helping people to define and identify their values, it actually helps to bring about conversation that really leads to person-centred care. And we cannot underestimate the value of this for the community that we are providing service for.
The value of this project and our partnership with Ex Situ is very much about the fact that this technology is all about supporting individuals, empowering individuals, and allowing people to take control of their own lives. It can be a significantly life-changing experience, and we've seen that firsthand.
So it's really important for us that we start to get that opportunity to build the academic integrity behind the technology solutions that are starting to emerge, because as we transform as a sector, we need to make sure that we're doing a really good job of providing responsible care, but also care that truly centres around the person with person-centred design.
We need to choose solutions that are person-centred, that are user-friendly, and create resilience for organisations that want to introduce superior services.
So that's all from our project awardees that have received grants in round 1 and 2. We expect to announce round 3 shortly, so stay tuned for that. And if you want to know more about ARIIA, there's lots of different ways that you can engage with us. So we do have a newsletter that you can sign up for on our website. There's also the opportunity to be part of grant reviewer panels, co-design teams. So if you have a particular expertise, please get in touch. We're always looking for different subject matter experts or different people to be on advisory groups. There's a sector survey that goes out yearly to get the temperature of the sector of what's the important issues to deal with. I believe one is about to go out shortly. And any other input that you'd like to provide in terms of an expertise area, we're very happy to hear from you. And if you do have a project idea or a solution that you think would be a good fit for aged care, then absolutely the aged care partnering program team are there to listen to those ideas and see if there's a gap that we can look at a project for. So thank you so much for listening to us and listening to our project grant recipients as well today. And we're really happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I think to add to that, I just wanted to emphasise the flexibility of the offerings that we have. So we in no way, shape or form apply a one-size-fits-all approach, and so Lynda and I are always happy to, even if you're not sure where you fit or you're not sure if the idea is suitable, please get in touch, because we've had a lot of brainstorming sessions with the sector, and that's the community-based sector, residential aged care, and the broader wraparound services. So we define the aged care sector as anybody who provides formalised services to older people, and that sort of extends right beyond the sort of traditional views of the sector, and as I said, more than happy to help you navigate what services you might need from us. and they're very flexible. I mean, I'm in Sydney today, and we are doing an in-house workshop, but that's going to look very different for every organisation that we do an in-house workshop for, because we completely tailor that to the organisation's needs and are really there to support. It doesn't have to even be a new question. The organisation today, it's something that's in their strategic plan. They were going to do it anyway. And they're using the value of ARIIA's services to just really provide that sort of, I guess, checking, resourcing, and a sounding board to something that they were going to implement anyway. And so it doesn't have to be a completely new approach.
Great. Thank you, Lynda and Rebecca. That's very informative. I mean, it's exciting seeing those projects underway. I mean, I've seen some of those sort of in the marketplace for the last couple of months, but they've actually, supporting from ARIIA, I think, makes a huge difference. Got a few questions. Some are sort of very specifically looking at the process, and some are sort of broader. So I'll start with one of the broader questions. So part of the Royal Commission recommendations was around the need to innovate in aged care. So my understanding, ARIIA was a direct response to that. Can you explain to us now how you think the Royal Commission recommendations translated into ARIIA and where it all fits into that big picture of reform?
I can tackle that one. So yeah, certainly ARIIA stemmed from a matter of care, the Polaires report, as well as the Royal Commission, really pushing for an industry-led, industry-informed, industry-focused support organisation for the aged care sector. So that's where things like the national survey, which has been released this week, help to continue to sort of help us shape and adapt to what the constant changes and pressures of the industry are. Our reference groups and the sector involvement and engagement that we have are also important mechanisms in order to make sure that we're on point. And I think this is the first nationally federally funded program that I've ever been involved in that has such capacity and flexibility in its scope. And that's why we're saying, a lot of the time the programs that roll out are really, a training program, and it's a set thing, and we do this thing. And that's the beauty of ARIIA has been, we've been given the permission to understand that innovation isn't a set process, and that everybody that comes to us is at a different a point in their pathway. And so it's really fantastic that we do have the scope to be able to adapt to the needs of the inquiries that we get, and adapt the services that we then provide back to them. So hopefully that gives you some insight into that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that again, what you highlight there is the heterogeneity of the aged care provider market. I mean, we range from two-person companies through to 20,000 employees. So there's a lot of heterogeneity. So one size innovation doesn't fit all in that space.
No, regional, metro, different demographic, clients that you serve, and we have to be, we're not going to innovate if we're sort of trying to fit into boxes.
And I guess also we're obviously very focused on the personalisation of that care, because again, as you highlighted there, an aged care recipient is not a generic term. It's a very heterogeneous sector. Yeah. Thanks for that. I guess from a sort of more specific point, so you mentioned the co-contribution. Is that an in-cash only contribution, or is it going to be in kind? Or
it can be in the form of staff time. So if there was a particular person that needed to be assigned to that project, and that was going to make up the co-contribution amount, then that would be eligible. If people are wanting to know more about the eligible and ineligible expenditure, it's on the website under the grant frequently asked questions, or please get in touch if there's anything not covered.
Excellent. Okay. The other question, of course, is each of the rounds. So the first round was obviously, the first two rounds had a focus around dementia by the looks of things. Are each of the rounds based on a specific area of research, or is there flexibility within each round? And is there, is there a roadmap for what the rounds coming up are, so people can prepare for them?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So we do have the key priority areas that have been the same for each round. So we are adding a couple of new ones in the upcoming rounds, but the old ones will still stay. So at the moment we have dementia care, restorative care, reablement and rehabilitation, social isolation, mental health and wellbeing, palliative care and end of life, meaningful lifestyle activities, addressing staff burnout to increase retention of the aged care workforce, and urgent and critical need. Then they will all remain for the next rounds 4, 5, 6. And also in rounds 5 and 6, there'll be criteria around technology specifically. So that'll be announced shortly.
And also feedback from the survey, again, trying to be responsive. And so the last few surveys, unsurprisingly, those big picture topics haven't shifted much in terms of their priority area and their concern to the sector. But if there are new emerging priorities from our sector survey, which is open now and closes in February, then we have, again, that flexibility of offering to add those into to the upcoming grant rounds as topics. And they're pretty broad topics, so very confident that most people will be able to see themselves and the problem that they want to solve within that.
Excellent. Got a couple of questions looking around how do you develop these partnerships? So is there a methodology or a portal or some sort of place where people who have got an idea or who want to find a research organisation to work with and an aged care provider can link in, or is that something that's sort of done externally?
Yeah, so the aged care partnering program, which I manage, is all about partnerships, among some other things that we do. So we are basically, the process is that an organisation that was interested in partnerships would contact us and let us know what type of project they're looking at, what they would need from a partnership. It's really important to be able to articulate what the benefit would be to the aged care provider. That's often the partner people are seeking. So it's really important to be able to say, this is the problem we're solving for aged care, not just this is the solution that we have, and what the benefit would be to the aged care organisation to be involved in the partnership. So it does need to be something new in aged care. So if an organisation, for example, had a software program that was already been widely used in aged care, then that wouldn't be suitable for the projects that we're looking at. But if it was something, a new component to the software that they wanted to test and get some feedback on, for example, that would be something we would look at. So I guess the easy answer is please get in touch if you think that what you've got might be a good fit for being introduced to an aged care partner or a research organisation. And we're really happy to chat through your specific project idea or scenario and see where we can possibly assist.
And I guess, to add to that, sorry, George, just is that the organisation that approaches Lynda's team is completely in the driving seat. There's no requirement to partner with the networks that ARIIA has, but often the discussions with the ARIIA and ACPP team can even just help the approaching partner understand what they're better looking for if they're looking for them for that, in the external environment as well. So we may not necessarily find the right fit for the person, from our own networks, but we still support them to identify what they need in a partnership.
Absolutely.
That's actually good, because we have a specific question here. Can we assume that a software vendor wanting to test a specific outcome with an aged care provider would be regarded as a research organisation? Or does there need to be a specific research organisation involved in the project? I guess part of that question is, if you're producing a new sort of technology, you highlighted, Lynda, that it's not just a matter of technology that's already in the marketplace, but new technologies or new uses of technology or additions to those technology. I guess that's the first part of it. But the research organisation needs to be a CRICOS registered organisation. What the requirements around the research organisation?
It is quite a wide net that we have there, so it can depend on what the specific orientation of the organisation is. I guess the easy way to answer it would be that it is always better if it's an external research organisation, because then you have the external validation, but it is project dependent. So again, please, if it's a specific project question, we're really happy to chat that through for the individual circumstances.
It doesn't have to be a traditional university setting. It can be someone who brings the evidence base. And so in the example that Lynda gave before, the architect was considered the research organisation in a way, because they bring that specific evidence-based expertise in the gap that needed to be filled. And I think that's an important part of it. You might have an internal tech partner that considers that it's its own research base, and that's perfectly valid. But the research organisation might bring evaluation skills. It might bring, a workforce change component. It doesn't have to be about the tech. It can be about the wraparound expertise that's going to make a project a success. And so it's important to have that broader thinking, I guess, in terms of a project. It's about filling all the gaps that make a project would make a project successful.
So another part of that, obviously, is from a research perspective, passing on the learnings from those. So is there a requirement around publications or just a report from the organisation, or is there a formalised publication model as well?
Part of the grant question is about how you'll disseminate the findings. So I don't think that there's a particular criteria for how many publications, etc., but that does weight towards the grant application.
Obviously, we want to make sure that fantastic ideas are disseminated, and that doesn't necessarily mean revealing IP and particular things like that, but certainly being able to share the learnings of a project widely in whatever way you propose as part of your grant proposal is really important. And as Lynda said, there's no KPIs in terms of particular dissemination deliverables, but particularly because our projects are so broad that just doesn't fit and doesn't work. And again, that's ARIIA trying to be flexible and still achieve outcomes, but not assuming that the sector's a one size fits all. And but sharing and really getting Australia ahead of the game by not reinventing the wheel and really sharing these fantastic ideas is really key to ARIIA's mission statement. It's that, we want to be a hub that shares ideas and helps everybody in whatever stage of the journey they're at, and reinventing the wheel is just a waste of such precious money that we don't have a lot of, so that's very key for us.
Excellent. Another question around, do all the partners need to be Australian based, or can you collaborate with international partners as part of the project?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have some international partners. So as long as the grant funding is expended in Australia, international partners are fine. Just the lead organisation has to have an ABN and be registered for GST in Australia. But if it's another one of the partners, it's no problem.
I guess that's sort of responsible to one of the other questions. So in the application, the lead partner submits the application. All the organised partners don't need to submit their own applications or have a joint application. There's a lead partner, and then the relationship between the lead partner and the other organisations is an internal issue, not
just through a subcontracting arrangement, from the lead.
Do you need letters of support or letters of confirmation as part of that in the process, that the partners are involved, or is it just part of the application itself?
It's just part of the application process. It's online through Smarty Grants, and all the partners are required to be listed there.
Yeah, and then the funding goes through the lead partner as well. So the lead partner then hands out any funding that needs to go to the other partners. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I think in terms of letters of support, not so much a requirement, but certainly strengthening your application by demonstrating that you've got an established relationship, or that you leverage off of key skills and I guess successes that the individuals bring to the organisation is definitely something that the grant panel will look for in terms of just likelihood of success. That's an obvious a grant criteria that is assessed by the panel. And it doesn't have to be that you've got an established relationship, but I guess demonstrating how you work together, demonstrating what each organisation brings to the table is something that you need to demonstrate in your grant application to be, at the successful end of the spectrum of funding.
Excellent. So the examples you showed us today seem to have a very strong consumer focus. So they focus specifically on the recipient of care. But as we all know, the behind the scenes in aged care, there's a lot of inefficiencies and complexities that need to be solved. things around research around innovations in infrastructure or infrastructure in processes.
Rostering, anything like that. I think it's just been the nature of the successful applications in the few small rounds that we've had so far. That's definitely not meant to limit the pool of opportunity, because we certainly recognise that technology and innovations in any aspect of the business that have a workforce component, whether it's rostering, whether it's care planning, whether it's training support for an organisation, whether it's communication support for an organisation. We've had a lot of inquiries from, delivery of care through telehealth, but not only that, but delivery of workforce support for regional and geographically isolated communities where where it's a internal workforce focus. So so please don't take the exemplars. They're great exemplars, but they are a very limited pool of who we could present from. But we're open to all of those sorts of aspects.
I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, those of us have been doing it long enough now that there's an iceberg model in aged care. There's a lot of stuff that people see, but a lot of stuff under the water that is paddling heavily.
Exactly. The back end machinery underpins all of that. So that's key.
And the other issue we often face is scalability of solutions. So whilst you guys are sort of getting people to the point where they're showing an evidence base, next steps after ARIIA, is there support for them to then find other avenues for support going forward? And is there any exclusivity around being associated with other accelerators or other startup projects around place?
No exclusivity. So if somebody was to come through ARIIA and then use that those findings to go through the next step in their journey, we'd actually see that as a win, that we were able to help on that journey. And after our grant funding is expended in June, then the landscape might look a little bit different. So we'll watch this space.
Yeah, we're looking at ways that we can value add and continue to help support partnerships, using external funding as well, and using that sort of business development advice as a consultancy service to, I guess, help tap into other mechanisms of growth and development within Australia. But as Lynda said, we take no ownership of any of this. It's just the ownership we'll have is pride in contributing to a bigger solution. And certainly scalability is a challenging question that does need to be addressed in the grant application. It's certainly not something that you need to be able to demonstrate, scalability, because it's impossible to demonstrate at the start of a project. But again, just providing grant panel with confidence that you've considered the opportunities for scalability and flexibility. Again, George, going back to your heterogeneity of the sector, relying on everybody buying this one widget that's going to make everything better isn't a scalable option for the sector. So and I think it's those lessons learned, and for each project success might be different, but the framework and how they got there is just as important as the outcome. And so again, allowing people to learn the lessons that you've experienced and overcome along the project journey, for us is just as important as the outcome that you achieve, because then other organisations can learn from your experience and again not waste time or money or resources reinventing the wheel in those steps, even if your outcome is ultimately different.
Excellent. Well, we are running out of time. Final question: contact details. Best way to get in contact with you again. I know it was on the last slide, but that slide disappeared. And if I can ask Georgie to pop these contact details into the chat so people have them as well, and we will share them with the attendees afterwards. But just give us the best way to get in contact with you.
Mm-hmm. Mine would be by email. So lynda.mcardle, MCARDLE @aria.org.au.
And I'll give a different one, which is www.aria.org. And through that, you can navigate to the different programs and sectors. So you can go to the KIH and look at the Knowledge Evidence Hub. You can look at the grants program. You can look at my team's offering, which is the Innovator training program. And there's always an email address for a particular sector if you're interested in a particular program of interest. And if you're not sure where to go, then there's the generic ARIIA at ARIIA email address that is postable through the website as well. So multiple channels that can support.
I'm assuming people. LinkedIn groups, LinkedIn presence and Facebook presence and
Facebook presence, LinkedIn presence, Twitter presence. Our marketing manager would love it if the attendees today can go and check whatever their favourite platform is out, and that's certainly an ongoing way to because you might not be ready to be interested now, or might not know that you need to be interested in now, and so, as Lynda said, the newsletter or social media gives you that ongoing connection that something might be right for you in the future.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you again for a great presentation. The recording of it will be made available to people who attended today. Any contact details we will continue to share. You can get in contact with us for the ACIATC. We've been working with Sue Gordon and her team around this from the outset, so we're very excited by this project. We think it's a real big stepping stone in the improvement of aged care delivery in Australia. With those technology rounds coming up, if there's anything we can do from the council to assist with those, both from your perspective or from anyone who's applying who wants some support, then the council is here to support you. Please feel free to contact us in the future. And we look forward to hearing from you again, because I think as each of these rounds come through, there's a lot of excitement in the sector. On that note, I'd like to thank you both for your great presentations. Thank Georgia Gould and Anne Livingston in the background for organising the logistics of this. Thank you everyone for attending. We had over 130 people registered for the event. We had quite a good attendance during the event, recognising that most of us are still wiping our eyes after a busy holiday season and coming to grips with it. So look forward to more discussions, and I'm sure we'll have a strong ARIIA presence at ITAC this year. So to everyone, thank you very much for joining us, and see you at our next research webinar, which we will keep you posted about in the near future. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Thanks so much for your support and
My
the council's
pleasure.
support. It's much appreciated.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.